This is a video I've been meaning to make for a while now. Let's look at what modifiers are, how to use them, and what cool things you can do with them. Let's go. This video is sponsored by PCBWay. I'm going to be mainly looking at Prusaslicer in this video because it's the one that's forked to make the many other slicers that are based on it, such as Bambu Studio or Orca or SuperSlicer. So if you use Bambu Studio or Orcaslicer or SuperSlicer, the same kind of thing should apply. If you use Cura, then there's similar functionality and you should be able to figure it out from this video, but I won't cover it explicitly. Modifiers are hugely underused in my opinion, and they're probably one of the most powerful aspects of the slicer. A lot of things you might think aren't possible, you can do with modifiers, as you'll see. So firstly, what are modifiers? These are things that you do in the slicer to modify the settings for a certain area of an object only. We'll look at the simplest one first, and that is height range modifier. To access modifiers in general, you right click on an object in the editor view and you go to modifiers, but below that there's a height range modifier option. The first thing you see here is that you can add a start and stop height and change the layer height. You can click the plus symbol and get more of those to appear, and you can use this as a very basic variable line height option. But the real power is if you click the gear icon next to the height range as shown, where you can then choose from a range of settings, which we'll get to, but I'll show you changing the infill density. This is really useful if you want to affect how a model is sliced at different heights, but the second way to use modifiers is even more powerful, and that is to use objects as modifiers. If I have a cube here and I right click it and I choose add modifier this time and I click cylinder, then you get a cylinder. No surprise there. If you move this and resize it, then you can make it intersect the cube in a pleasing way, and if you slice that, it won't do anything. You need to add some settings. So again, clicking the gear icon next to the cylinder, we'll choose infill and change it to 50% and gyroid. Now we slice and we see this. Obviously, it's not hard to see how this might be desirable in a part to have areas where infill is higher, but you need to understand that this is only the tip of the iceberg with regard to modifiers. You see, you can change all these settings using modifiers. And yes, I did go through manually and write them all down. So a fun one would be to remove the top and bottom of a model using a modifier and make a hole where you can only see the infill. And you can stack these things too by clicking the gear again on the same modifier, and you can then do something like remove the infill and you've got a complete hole. You can also add multiple modifiers to the same model. And when it comes to choosing modifiers, you can use a whole bunch of the included shapes by choosing from the list, and this includes SVG files as well. Or more recently, you can load your own 3D file like an STL and use that as a modifier. This of course then opens up the possibility of a benchy shaped adjustment in just about anything. What you can't make with modifiers though are PCB designs. These segues are not getting any better. PCBWay is an easy way to get your PCBs made. All you have to do is take your PCB design files out of whatever software you prefer to use and upload them to PCBWay's order page or quick order page. PCBWay can make all sorts of PCBs, including flexible ones and pre-assembled ones. They also offer services like CNC milling, and I'll be showing that one in an upcoming episode as I've just ordered this part. If anyone can guess what this is, then I'll be impressed. You won't. This part was pretty easy to order. I just took the file out of Fusion and uploaded it, and pretty much just chose the material, aluminium, and that's that. Once it's delivered, I'll be making that video and you'll soon see what I'm up to. So check out PCBWay by using the links below, and thank you as always to PCBWay for sponsoring this episode. So what cool applications can we think of for this functionality? Well, the options are almost endless. Nearly everything you want to do in a slicer that involves changing the print properties can be done. If you want to make a TPU part more soft in a certain place, you can just reduce the number of walls and infill there, and it will bend in that place. Similarly, if you want to make a part stronger, you can increase the walls. You could do some really strange things like adding ironing or fuzzy skin to wherever you want on a model, as long as you can define that area with an STL. Something I also do in a lot of tests is to be able to run several temperatures or print speeds in one print so that it cuts down on the repetition. I don't have to do as many test files. So this is a clever way to manually generate a temperature tower. Or you can also apply it to parameters that let you effectively increase the flow rate, like I did when I was testing out maximum flow rates a couple of videos ago. As I showed you in the last video, the newest Prusaslicer also shows you exact speed and flow rate, so now this is a lot more useful too. So that's modifiers. As I said in the start, this functionality should apply to all the Prusa forks, so that's Bambu Studio, SuperSlicer and Orca. Let me know in the comments if you've used modifiers for something cool in the past, or you have any cool ideas on how to use them. I will see you next time. Thank you for watching.